So now that the recording is started, I am going to introduce my special guest, a long-time colleague of mine. We've known each other for a very long time. A very lovely lady, very professional, very efficient in what she does, and that would be Tania van Rooyen. Tania van Rooyen, the time that she joined us, we still use librarian. So Tania will correct me if I'm wrong, but at that time, and to be honest with you, I prefer the term librarian, but she is also an information specialist. And I think also the online way of doing things, I think information specialist, has a lot of truth in it. So Tania is joining us this evening, and she is going to really and with all my pleasure, she's going to steal the show, but she's going to touch on some very, very important matters, especially for test 1 and test 2, because I would like that all the effort you're going to put in, that nothing be wasted to any unacademic stuff, right? Tania?
Hello, students.
The floor is yours.
Hello, Patrick, and thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Miss working with you in the office. I was working in the office with Patrick, but I moved to Cape Town. So I'm not based on the Waterfall campus anymore. So before I start, I just want to know if you can see my screen, if you can maybe just give me a thumbs up if it's visible to you guys. Okay, cool. So referencing according to the Harvard Anglia style adapted for the IIE. You're second year students, so I'm sure you're very familiar with the referencing, but I just want to alert you to some things again, and maybe also just on the stand of the IIE regarding the following: cheating, plagiarism, and technically weak referencing. Technically weak referencing can cost you marks. The plagiarism and cheating can cause you a 0 for assessment, or if you're in an exam for that matter. So just shortly, I don't want to go too much into the detail of this, as you are second year students, so you should be familiar with these terms, but I'm just going to quickly read to you what the IIE stand on these things are. So what is cheating? Cheating is a deliberate attempt to gain an unfair advantage in an assessment. It can include copying from another student, assisting another student to cheat by sharing your work with that fellow student, or any form of contract cheating. So contract cheating, we had quite a problem with last year. That means that students upload their assessment to dodgy sites. And then you, as a student from another institution, can go and you can purchase an assignment from there, and you can present it to us as your own at your other institution, at the Emirates institution. One of these sites that's very much used is Sudoku. So if you do research and you get to a site called Sudoku, please note that it's a cheating site. You will see you have to pay for information there, and it's actually assignments that you're buying. We had Turnitin flag students for high similarity, and when we investigated, it was obvious that these assessments that matched were bought from Sudoku, to be precise. So that's what contract cheating is, when you sell your assignment and you buy assignments on sites. Okay. And using someone else's work and presenting it as your own. Okay, that speaks for itself. So what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is a very, very serious offense. And with AI coming into the picture and students copying and pasting from AI and presenting that as their own, they're plagiarizing by stealing content from AI. So you double in the trouble. It's not allowed to do that at all, you can imagine. So plagiarism occurs when a person reproduces a wrongly and wrongly represent the intellectual output of another person as their own original work. And then you're not acknowledging the original author or the source that you got the information from. And this information that I now shared with you comes from the policy. So nothing that I'm telling you is out of my mind. It's literally from the IIE 023 policy. And it's very important that you know that, especially if you plan on eventually doing your postgrad with the institution. Right. So technically weak referencing, and this is actually something that happens a lot, and it's actually that you're not really mastering the skill of referencing. So technically weak referencing is an attempt to reference, but the referencing is incongruent and or inconsistent. This is not plagiarism, but does demonstrate that a student has failed to master the technical skills required for correct referencing practices. So if you're referencing in your tests and in your assessments, and you're not following the Harvard Anglia referencing style adapted for the IIE, by missing details, when you have to add page numbers and you're not adding them, when you have to put colons and you're not adding them, little things. So this is where you can lose marks. So 5 to 10%. It sounds like little, but you know, a 5% can be that difference between a pass paper or failure paper or an distinction or missing your distinction. So 10 or 5% is quite a bit, and this is so preventable. I mean, this is literally a small skill that you need to master to not lose those marks. So that's why referencing is so very, very important. Okay, so if you now had to give a definition to referencing or say, why do you reference? Can you unmute? Can someone tell me what is referencing and why are you referencing? Anybody? Saskia, do you feel like answering?
I think like referencing is basically like the standardized academic practice of like acknowledging the sources that you've used to answer something. Like you said, it helps so that you avoid plagiarism, and it demonstrates that you actually did research, and you're not just pulling it out of like somewhere.
Yeah. Fabricating. Anybody else that wants to add to what Saskia said? Denver, maybe?
Yeah, I agree with Saskia. It's just that you need to show proof of where you got the material that you are using, because unless you wrote the book.
Okay. So also remember, so if you now on the other side, you now wrote a paper, a very good paper, or you published a book. You're a published author. And now Tammy Ann is using information from your very well-researched, hard work book that you published. You went through all the drama, all the research. And she's now using information that she gained from your book in her assignment. And she's not referencing. She's not doing an in-text citation, and she's not adding a reference list. Patrick is now reading this assessment and he thinks, wow, yes, Tammy Ann, yes, but is she so clever? Wow. Out of nowhere, she got this amazing information from. So what's happening? The person that wrote that book is not being given credit for hard work and sweat, and it's literally not giving credit where credit's due, and someone is taking the credit for that did not do the work. So if you stand on the other side, it's just you give credit where credit's due. You're not stealing Denver's very hard work writing this book. The information that you got from me, you acknowledging that he is the brain behind what you are writing. This is where you did your research. He's a well-known publisher, a published author. He did his research. So it comes with authority, and you giving credit where it's due by acknowledging and referencing in text and in the reference list where you got your information from. Okay, this is the formal definition for referencing from the IIE. I'm not going to go into that because you do understand what I'm saying. Oops, sorry, guys. Let me share my news with you guys. Okay. So you are very much aware, I suppose, when you're now studying your second year with us, that we make use of the Harvard Anglia style referencing guide and adapt it for the IIE. Let's just click and go to that specific guide. So when a year starts, so now 2026, it's very important that you go onto the library page, IIE shelf, referencing and plagiarism is where you go to get these documents, and download the newest edition. You will see 2026 is the newest guide, and it's got 52 pages. Make sure that you download it and you keep it on your laptop, or you can even, if you're like me, old school, you print it out and you put it in a file and you have it close at hand when you do your research and your referencing, and you need to make sure that you're on the right track. And it's actually a very user-friendly guide. You will see in the table of contents, it literally speaks to every type of source that you can think of. If it's not exactly point on, it will be more or less giving you an indication if you're not sure, if it's not falling specifically into one category. You will get a very good idea of what's expected of you when you do your referencing. Even the module outlines for your specific module that you're taking, you will find there. Everything how to go about referencing. And when you're doing your exams, it's very important to also make use of this. Okay. And very important, what a lot of students miss. If you look at the last section, actually from page 49 on, there's special notes that you can take note of. What to do, this is a very, very important one. If there's no date in the source that you're using, there's no place indication like where was it published, Cape Town or London or what, it's not there. So then what do? If you go to this section, page 51, in the guide, it will show you exactly what to do if there's no date of publication. What do I do? What do I add? Okay. So just note this and keep it in mind when you're battling to find dates or you're not sure what to look for. This is the best place to find the answer to that questions. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, any questions at this stage? Anyone that has a problem with understanding the guide or, picked up some mistakes in the guide because there is a few flaws? Anybody that wants to say something at this stage, maybe? All good. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Okay, so as you now saw as I told you before, there's two parts to referencing. You get a citation, which is inside your assessment, and you get a reference, which you will put in a reference list. So what is a citation? A citation is a brief indication. It's often just the author's surname and the date of publication made within the body of your essay. So say, for instance, where you're referencing an institution like the World Health Organization or any other institution that doesn't have an author specifically that they assign a specific article to on their page. I just helped a student with ShopRite Holdings. So you go onto ShopRite Holdings webpage. There's lots of articles. It's telling you about how they went about putting panels on solar panels to improve the electricity use and everything. But there's no author for that specific article. So in that instance, that organization name, in this instance, ShopRite Holdings, will become your designated author. Okay, so it will take the position of the author's surname in your in-text citation. So it will say ShopRite Holdings and then the year of publication instead of the surname of the author. Okay. In your reference, what is a reference? A reference should provide complete information about a source and where it can be found. It appears at the end of the document and is titled the reference list. So Your citation that's in the body of your assignment must correlate with the full reference in the reference list and vice versa. So the author and the surname is a short reference in the citation, and then all the details on that specific source you will put in your reference list. Okay, that's just very basic. Okay, so in your reference guide, you will see in the middle column, it's not the middle, the third column, it speaks to in-text quotations. And I'm not sure with Patrick how strict you are, but the stand is usually that you're not allowed more than 5% direct quotes in your assessment. Why do we say that? Because it is expected of the students to paraphrase into their own words. There's exception to the rules, and that is if you have to quote a specific definition from a source, then you're allowed to use direct quotes, and remember the quotation marks. And when you use that, it's very important when you do direct quotes that you have to add the page number where you got that quote from. Very important. But as I said, Patrick, do you say the same in your faculty, that they must steer away from direct quotes? Just want to be sure.
So obviously for definitions, they can take a definition directly. And so the same would apply. So when they're taking a definition, they need to put the page number.
Okay.
So it's a class, it is as simple as that, because you are just taking a definition directly from your textbook. So that's easy for you to just add the page number. Okay. But when it comes to answering a question, and I'm seeing that a student is just blatantly just copying from, paragraphs and paragraphs from the textbook, not even making an effort to paraphrase, that's a bit of an issue, especially for a second-year student. So obviously, class, this is very useful to you.
Yeah. So, very important to remember as we're saying this, it's about showing your growth and your research and your tone and voice. So that's why it's important to paraphrase, so that the lecturer can see your understanding of the material that you're engaging with. By just copying and pasting and direct quoting, you lose that ability. So that's why we limit it to 5% of an assessment, except now direct words or definitions. Right. So I think this is your textbook that Patrick sent to me today. So if you have to reference your textbook or any other book that you use with 4 or more authors, this is the way that you have to go about it according to the Harvard Anglia Guide. Okay, so when you get to 4 or more authors, you don't have to list all the author surnames in your in-text citation. It's enough to just list the first author surname. In this case, it's Freeman. So you will list Freeman, comma, and then use the abbreviation et al. So et al stands for and others. It's Latin for and others. So you will say, it will read then, Freeman and others. 2022 states that, and you continue with your paraphrasing. Okay, so the et al takes the position of the other surnames and others. That's it. Or you can put your in-text reference at the end of your of the paragraph or the sentence, as we did in this example. But now, very important, it doesn't matter how many authors you got for a work. And we had a case where it was Chinese surnames, authors, and I think there was 7 that contributed and 7 authors that wrote on that specific book once. So it was very difficult for the students to do that, but they had to. So they had to do the surname and the initials, all of them in the reference list. It must correlate, but you put all the details in your reference list, okay? So all the author surnames and initials, and no ampersand, you have to type out the word and that also applies to your in-text citations. It's academic writing, so we steer away from using ampersands and that. You type out the words, you write proper language. So it will be and not an ampersand, and then the surname, and always the title of a book must be in italics in your reference list. Okay? If there was an edition, first edition you don't have to indicate in your reference list, but if it's a second, third, and onward edition, you have to add that as well. Very important that you have to say the town where it was published, like London or Cape Town or whatever you see available in your textbook or your hard copy book, colon, and then the publisher. And then again, if there's not a place of publication, you cannot just go and say South Africa. It's not right. You go and you look in that on page 51 in your guide, what is the, I think it's S full stop, L full stop in square brackets that you use if there's no place of publication. Okay.
Tania?
And yes, Patrick.
Yes, just a quick one. Could you perhaps remind maybe our class with regards to the first in-text reference? So according to the guide, the first in-text reference would require to have all the authors, just the surnames.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, huh? Okay.
That, and you see that now, Patrick, is what happens. They changed the guide. So when we went over, we were just doing Harvard Anglia, we were doing Harvard referencing style adapted for the IIE. Then there was a decision made to move over to Harvard Anglia style, adapted for the IE. So the Anglia referencing, Harvard referencing, does not require you, when you first in-text cite a source with 4 or more authors, to list it the first time, and after that use et al. So the new guide, you just use et al. As from the word go. The first time you in-text referencing the source, it's already using et al.
Now, class,
so that is something that changed.
That's good news for the class.
Well, it makes it a bit less of, typing out. And so just in your reference list, you have to put all the surnames and initials. But that's one of the changes that happened. That's why I'm literally telling you to be sure that it's a 2026 guide that you have with the 52 pages. You must have the right guide and you must stick to that. So there you will see exactly what changed. There's little things like this now, the et al., which is a big thing actually. Okay, so this one.
Tania,
yes,
we have a question. We have a question from
Saskia. Yes, Saskia.
Hi, ma'am. I just wanted to check, if you wanted to still do it the old way, let's say you have like 5 authors and you don't want to do the et al. Thing and you're used to doing it the old way, is that still fine, or do you prefer the et al?
Okay, so it's not what we prefer. It's what the guide expects you to do. So, and that is now the thing. Some of the lecturers, like Patrick would maybe be more lenient when you list all 4 the authors the first time that you're in-text citing, but not all of them. They can literally hold you to the rule of the Anglia style, because otherwise there's inconsistency happening. So yes, the lecturers should also follow the guide by the letter, and then you should stick to the et al. Unfortunately. Okay, so this is a book with chapter authors. So I just took some of the more difficult examples out of the guide to show you. So what happens if there's chapter authors? So now this specific book is Ethics in Research, okay? This is the article or the chapter, Ethics in Research. The title of the book that this Ethics in Research chapter is called Research Matters. Okay, so now what happens? You have this book in front of you. Okay, the title of this book is Research Matters. But in this book, okay, there's lots of authors that contributed. The editors of the book, which is the first, is that F. Deploy, Sillier, C. and R. Embassador. So they are the editors of this book. But they had a lot of authors that contributed to this specific book called Research Matters. So now you as a student wants to use one chapter out of that book that you're using for your research, and you need to give credit to the author of that specific chapter because he or she went through a lot of trouble with the research. The chapter was published in this specific book. So now how do you go about it? Because you have to give credit to the editors that compiled this book, but you have to give always first credit to an author of a specific piece of research material, being it a chapter in a book, being it a journal article in a journal, being it an article in a newspaper. Always give credit to the author if there's an author. So what you do then, you first go and you take the author's details because now she's the number one or he's the number one. So you will first Lo, M, because she wrote that chapter, or he. I know it's a she in this instance. Okay. She wrote chapter 18, and you using as a student this chapter to do your research, and you have to in-text cite and you have to reference. But now how? How do you go about it in the reference list? It's easy in the in-text citation because you're always giving credit to the author. So Lo is the surname of the author. She's credited in the in-text citation, but now in the reference list, you have to list all the information. So now how do you go about it? Again, author first, the date when she published was 2021. You will get that all in the book on the title page or on the front of that specific chapter. You will get this information. So Lo M, 2021, Ethics in Research. Ethics in Research is the title of that chapter. Okay, that is not in italics. Okay. Then the next step, now you have to give credit to the book that it was published in. So you will say in, colon, and then look how interesting this now is. You put the initial first. So it's F, full stop, Deploy Sillier, comma, then again the second two is C, point, full stop, C, full stop, and R, full stop, M, full stop, beside a note. Comma, eds, meaning they are the editors. Full stop, and then you go on as normal. Title in italics, the book's title, Research Matters, full stop. It was the second edition, you have to show that. It was published in Claremont by Utah, and then you give the chapter information, comma. It's chapter 18, colon, double P, meaning there's more than one page that you use, so it's pages, full stop, 300 to 312, full stop. So it sounds so difficult, but it's all building blocks. If you look at it closely, you will realize, okay, always remember, first author needs to be credited. If there's not an author, organization needs to be credited. Someone needs to be responsible for publishing. Okay, so first step. Then when was it published? That's important because it shows if it's recent material that you're using. You're not allowed to use old sources. So you look, okay, try to stick to 5 to 10 years maximum in your recent sources. Okay, and then title. And I know it sounds rough and it's a lot of things to remember, but if you take the guide and you just keep in mind what's first priority and you practice, then it becomes easier. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, all good. Right. So now, also, as I said, I took out a bit of the difficult stuff that I picked up that students really battle with. So now if you go online, the basic principle stays the same. So this is a journal article obtained from an online database or a website for that matter. So again, your author is the main thing. Second, the year when it was published. Third, this is the title of the specific article that was published in that journal. So it's not in italics. The name of the journal is in italics. So it's Journal of Qualitative Research. And now, because it's an electronic database that you're using, it's not a physical hard copy, you have to indicate that you're making use of an e-source or an electronic source. So then you, in square brackets, everything that you add on, you put in square brackets. So that will be an add-on. Extra, you will tell Patrick that you got it from an e-journal. In your square brackets, the edition number and the volume number in brackets, comma, again, the page numbers of the specific article. It's from page 7 to 14, full stop. And you have to show us where online did you get it. So you will say available at, and you will post the link or the DOI. So when Patrick reads your assignment or your exam, he can click on the link and it will take him to the source. He can see that it's not a 404 not found article, meaning you fabricated or you used ChatGPT to make sources up for you. If it's not accessible, it's usually students that ask ChatGPT to create a reference list for them. So be sure that you use an accessible link in your research. So available at, there's the link that we can go to check your research, where you got it from. And then very important, what's also an add-on when you do electronic sources is when you access that specific article. And that comes in square brackets again. And very important, but I don't think second years you have that problem, but my first years put the date when this specific article was published. This access date means access. So when you as a student went to that website, to that journal, you opened up, you accessed the information from there. That's access date, not publishing date, just for interesting sake. But that's a problem that I had with my first years so far. Okay, and then in the reference list, exactly the same surname in your in-text citation, exactly the same, the principle stays the same. Okay. Okay, this is just an example of in-text citations. There's one with 3 authors, Valsemark, Vivian, and the 2022, that categorizes the outcomes of risk as positive. So you go on with your paraphrasing just to show you what it should look like. There's no ampersand, it's typed out. In this instance, the student decided to do his sentence construction and argument and then put the in-text citation after the sentence. This one is very much referenced, you can see. I don't know if it's possible to get so many ideas from one. In one paragraph, you use one. Okay, well, it's 2 different sources, so I suppose it's possible. Sorry, I'm just analyzing this now. Okay, but you can see how he went about it. Okay, every single one. So in this case, 3.3, you will see he used Krisiak is one of his sources, and then just after that, Valsemark, Vivian, and the Toy, which is one book. And he got this information, was confirmed in 2 sources that he used. So he gives credit. So it's Krisiak, 2009, then a semicolon, and then he lists the second source. You have to credit both if you use more than one. Well, if you use more than 2, it becomes a bit of a question. I would say just rather stick to 2. It's not necessary for us to know that you confirmed with 4 or 5 sources exactly the same information. Okay. Okay, and there's one that's et al. To show you it's one with 3 or more authors. There's one in the in-text citation. There's the IIE right at the bottom. It was a module outline. Okay, just an example. And then this is a reference list. Just to show you, a reference list is literally a list. No fancy stuff happening here. Only the titles in italics. Obviously, your links will turn blue if they're active. Sometimes they turn another color. I've seen that as well. But yeah, it's just a straightforward listing alphabetically. Nothing funny, nothing weird. And it's left aligned. Okay, so just to summarize the referencing section, you always have to have matching entries for your in-text and your reference list. They must correlate with each other. You must pay attention to punctuation, your commas, your full stop, your semicolons, your colons, your et al., where the full stop must be, all of that. Remember to reference online images and pictures. If you make use of any images or pictures that you get from an online source, you have to also reference those. Page numbers you only use for direct quotes in your in-text citation. In your reference list for journal articles, you also have to include page numbers, and for chapters in books as well. Do not bullet or number the reference list. As I said before, it's literally just a listing in alphabetical order. Nothing funny, no intents, no weird fonts, nothing like that. It must be very, very clean and accessible. When we check your in-text and your reference list, it must correlate. We must be able to click on the links and go into your references easily. It must be a streamlined process. Okay. Okay, so what to do if you use AI? I'm not sure who's willing to just tell me, is there anyone that's not using AI? Let me put it that way. Any of you that's not using AI when you do your work, your assignments?
I haven't.
Never, Denver, never. Not even a grammar tool.
No, I don't.
Wow.
Because I'm too scared to
I would believe Denver.
Mark.
I would believe Denver because Denver is an old soul like me.
Yeah, Patrick, I'm also, and literally I've been working with AI and we've been investigating AI students. I literally for 2 years now very actively. But lately, this year, I now started playing and I literally started using AI just to help me a bit with my own research, and a simple thing like I had to compile a survey and I was not sure how to word it so that it's accessible to the students. And I asked ChatGPT and I was amazed. Really, I was amazed. And obviously, I got my ideas from there and then I just worked on it some more and made it more my own because there were specific things that I wanted there. But it is really a helpful tool. And also Claude, I can tell you, if you prompt on Claude, it's amazing. Yeah. But in any case, there's an ethical way to go about using AI. And that's why I understand that you're careful, Denver, and you haven't tried it yet. But I'm also old school. I tried it now, 2026, for the first time myself. I was playing around with it and checking students' assignments and amazed at it. But now that I'm using it myself for little things, it's helpful. It's a good assistant to have. So let me just give you some key points that you must remember when you use AI. All the AI tools that you use need to be acknowledged and disclosed. Okay? Very important. Don't say that you are referencing an AI. You label AI. AI is not an academic source. It's not a peer-reviewed research that's been done and published. Okay? So just to keep it academically pure, we say that we label AI, okay? And that's just a name change because you're still putting it in your reference list, okay? And sometimes you still have to in-text cite it. But you say you're labeling it. You're labeling it in text, okay? This includes grammar tools, and that's like your Grammarly and your Callbot. Paraphrasing tool like Callbot, you have to also disclose the use thereof. And remember to include an annexure after the reference list. I will now show you where that document is and what it looks like. It's also there in the eShelf in the library under referencing and plagiarism. It's actually the first document that comes up even before your referencing guides. You get this document. Okay, but you can really go and read through this. It's a very user-friendly document. It makes you understand the intellectual and the integrity part that we need to keep in mind when we're making use of AI and why it can be to our benefit to use it and all of that. But what I just want to show you, if you've been using it, especially grammar tools, I can suppose that some of you, as you're still afraid, might be using Grammarly because it's installed on your PC and it automatically rectifies your writing and maybe your paraphrasing. You just have to acknowledge it according to 4.4 in this document. 4.1 shows you the labeling. So labeling would be if you use, say, we use ChatGPT to brainstorm and we ask ChatGPT to summarize something for us. Let's say you ask a bot to summarize something out of a source for you, okay? Immediately then you have to label it in text, okay? And you have to take that content and you have to paraphrase it into your own words, okay? Very important. And when you in text label an AI tool, it's very important that you add the academic peer-reviewed article or book that you use, academic source, to verify the information that you got from AI. Very important. So you can use ChatGPT to summarize for you, but obviously it will summarize a journal article from a peer-reviewed academic journal. Then it's fine. Then you give credit to the bot, ChatGPT, and you give credit to that source that it's summarized from, and you paraphrase into your own words. Because if you don't paraphrase, it means you're literally copying and pasting the summary that the bot did for an academic source into your assignment. So it's a zero. It's literally a zero. It's plagiarism and it's copying and pasting. It's cheating also, actually. So just acknowledge that you used a bot and acknowledge the academic source where you got the information for that paraphrased work that you did. Okay. It sounds like a speech. Okay. So that in-text that you labeled the AI needs to be in the reference list as well. So say, for instance, OpenAI ChatGPT summarized that academic information for you, then you paraphrased it. So you now have to give credit to OpenAI 2024, exactly like you would do a normal reference. You will say what version of the bot and what you used. You must say that it's a large language module, okay, where you got it from, and when you access that specific bot. Okay. And then the very important part, and this is more important than anything when you use a bot, you have to disclose the use of AI. And to do that, you have to have an annexure after your reference list on a separate page. And every single AI tool that you use needs to have a separate entry in that annexure. Okay. So say, for instance, you used, let's say you used Claude to help you brainstorm or summarize for you, or just for an initial investigation, you didn't understand the topic. You didn't understand what they're asking you, and you ran it through a bot. You prompt the bot. Okay, so you got an answer. So that you have to, all of that you have to put in your disclosure. You will have a title. You will have the section where you use that AI, the name of the tool, the purpose or the intention why you use it. I did not understand the question in my assignment and ask a bot to assist me to clarify, or whatever you word it that makes sense to you in your own tone, in your own word, so that your lecturer can read that it's Tammy Ann speaking, it's Tammy Ann writing this, she used this bot. So nothing fancy, nothing weird. Okay, and the date, and then again, okay, so this one, a link. So you're now interacting with a bot, you get a link of that conversation that you can actually save. Okay, I still have mine for that survey that I did on my laptop. That link you also have to include in this disclosure of the use of AI. I want to show you what a student did, and I really think, Patrick, you would now be able to confirm if it's so or not. But as a lecturer, so you're now getting an assignment. The student used AI, but it was used ethically. And the student's now disclosing the use of AI, like she should, or he should, with an annexure after the reference list. So what this student did, and this is a very good example, that's why I want to show you this. So the student did everything that the policy, the guidelines policy ask when you use AIs by disclosing it the following way. So she named it annexure, disclosure of AI usage in my assessment. She used ChatGPT 5 throughout, where she made use of a bot in her assignment. So there's that answer. So that's a correct mark, that's a correct mark. Then we also want to know the sections within the assessment where you used AI. So she marked, she did it in 3.1. Okay, and the assessment went on to question 5, I think. And she showed 3.3. I just took a screenshot of a few. The sections that she used it in. Then the purpose or the intention behind the use. Why did she use it? The first one, she says clarification of a risk category. So she didn't understand, so she wanted clarity. So the bot, ChatGPT, helped her with that. She's honest and transparent about it. There it is. The date that she asked ChatGPT, and then the link. So Patrick is now marking your assessment, and he's now doubting. He's now looking and said, okay. So Joshua did use AI now, and he's giving me everything or whatever. So he clicks, whoops, goes into the chat, and he can see exactly the prompt that you gave the bot, the response that you got. Then the prompt that you gave again, the whole conversation, the whole chat that you had with the bot. He can see how you went about it. Okay? And this is what she did with every single section. Term search. So obviously, here she didn't know what a specific term meant. So there again, you click on that, and you can see how did she ask the bot, what did the bot respond. So from my side, this is a perfect table to show your interaction with the bot and to be on the ethical side of using AI. Okay, but I'm not saying you have to do it in a table. You can just do it listed underneath each other with the links and everything. Okay, and that's it from my side. If you have any questions, we can look at something else as well for the library. And this is very important, where you can reach us. So for the undergrads, it's myself and Sakile Mbatsana that can assist you. If you go onto Emirates Assist and you lock a ticket, you're now battling with your academic writing. You can lock a ticket for the writing center. You click there and it will ask you information. And then also for the library or the information section. I like to be a librarian, by the way, as Patrick said. You can click, let me just show you what happens. So you click there, and from a student side, you will get to enter your student number there. Okay, so let's say I don't have a student number. And then here's a few things that you complete. You say what campus and what you want to be helped with, everything. It shows you exactly, and then you submit. And then I get a ticket on my side, or Sakile. We get it and we respond to that. And a turnaround time is really good. So we try to help you very promptly. Okay, so if you need us to help you with anything. Okay, and that's it from my side. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tania. This was amazing.
Thank you, Patrick. I hope it helps the students a bit. I hope that you feel a bit more at ease with referencing and AI, for that matter, students.
Absolutely, very much, very much. Myself, actually, I am your student in this, because I can see already that I need to redo some of the referencing I've done.
Yeah, it's quite a thing if it changes, and yeah.
Yeah, it's a good refresher. It's always a good refresher. And plus, there is no people who are immune to referencing. We all referencing with all the works that we are doing. So
yes.
AI is even another ball game. And that's the reason why I said to myself, you need to come and pay us a visit. And thank you so much for coming. And I think especially for the AI, this is just a way to make AI more transparent so that students are not scared. I told them from the very beginning of the year that they should make AI their friend. I believe that AI should be used, but it should be used to help. Take it as your personal tutor, but you need to acknowledge. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tania.
Thank you, everyone, and good luck with your tests and your assignments.
We will save it. We will save the recording.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, class. So that was amazing. I don't know what are your impressions, but please feel free to share with me. Again, remember, we're just having lunch together, or just picture that we are in the living room and we are having a conversation. Remember that's what it's supposed to be, right? We are buddies here, and we can share together. Yeah, Saskia. But to be honest with you, because of the fact that, let's say, for example, you're writing a test and it's very hard. Let's say we give you a test, and that test is very hard. In the past, for example, when AI was not even around, I would look for somebody to assist me. I would look for a buddy to explain to me, because I would be like, listen, the assessment is here and I can't understand this assessment, right? Obviously, that would be somebody more senior, because we have tutors. We had tutors at that time, and I think we should also have some tutors. But in the school, for example, of computer science, we have a lot of student tutors, meaning students that have completed their degree already and they're assisting others. So you see, with AI, by the way, AI is so efficient that it could take the place of a student tutor. It could be like your best buddy, right? So, but now the implication of it is, when now you're writing like a test, you can't just take a paper and give it to the AI and the AI give you responses and then you submit that. You agree with me that that's very irresponsible. That's actually, the highest dishonesty you can have. That's not right, because it's not helping you properly, personally. And remember, I told you, if you do that and you still manage to do well at the test, I know you're not going to pass the exam. Right? So remember that. Remember that it's not like you are cheating me or you are cheating the system. You are robbing yourself. You are cheating yourself, because it didn't help me and understand the course better. And then when you have to write now the actual exam, and we know especially that the AI is rough, especially with financial modules, students are using it. But my thing is that just acknowledge that you're using it. That will be good. And use it to understand the question. Really use it to understand the question, right? Guys, so that's all that will be said on this matter. But I'm saying, I just want to hear from you. Are you comfortable with this? Is this making sense? Wonderful. And again, remember, even your textbook, please reference your textbook. Sometimes, I see students, you are copying from your textbook and you don't even bother to reference simply your textbook. That again tells me there is a laziness, and that, especially for me as a marker, you can understand why Tania was asking me all the time, what do I think about this? Me as a marker, and I'm marking, and I'm seeing that you are not bothering even, so you're copying from your textbook, and you're not even bothering referencing, you see. So that tells me a little bit that you don't understand what you are doing, You are in an academic setting that could be a very big door for you, because some of you will be doing, very soon, you're going to be doing the master's level. Some of you will be doctors, and I will shock you. There are people that, I lectured that today are more advanced than I am. They are doctors. So it's not to say that, just because I'm lecturing, then I'll always be above. No. It's like kung fu or karate. The learner always surpasses the teacher, right? All right. So that was just to make. Guys, I'm just going to share quickly because this was so important because of the fact that I said at the beginning of the session, I don't want you to lose marks. And we have all the time I have always this painful conversation with the student when I have to turn you in. And basically, if you are turned in, right? You are in year 2, you know what happened. Come on, guys, So if you are in year 2, I turn you in, that means that already you will be capped at 50%. You see, so I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because it's you see what I'm saying? But the penalty is much stricter. And my thing is, I don't see finance being even a problem because finance, we don't have so much theory. Your test 1 will have quite considerable theory, but it would not be even more than 50%, right? The maximum it can reach is 50%, right? So you are in a module where, but in any case, this is useful for all your other modules as well, because I know you guys are also working, are also doing other modules. So it is very much applicable. But I don't see that you should stress about finance. Finance should not be even your stress, right? So when you have to reference, just reference. And you'll find out that, for example, for a question, they ask you just for a definition and few explanation. Define, reference properly where you got the definition so that we can say, okay, this person is just honest, right? Because you got it from the textbook. That's all. And then you paraphrase basically an explanation. What is the problem? We're not asking you much.